So we have a video called "Should Interracial Marriages Be Banned?" And I will try to post that up here on my video. And you could go ahead and watch the video either prior to this video response or after. Okay. Now there's been several videos made on this topic. Should interracial marriages be banned in the United States? Okay. And my belief on this topic would be that I think that because the interracial marriages, along with interracial dating, has gotten to be, to the extreme. It's gotten to a point where they're actually promoting it, and this has been going on for years now. And we're seeing tons of commercials, tons of video games with interracial cartooning couples, and like Togo, for instance. That's a video game. It's got interracial unions. It's almost getting to a point where everywhere you go, you see it. Now, we're not living in Brazil. Okay, this is not Brazil. Over in Brazil, they're living under a whole different type of system over there. Okay. And so their history and our history over here in the United States is similar, but there's a lot of differences with interracial couplings. Okay. And in Brazil, somebody like me would be considered probably like, they have a caste system over there. Okay. And it's still happening to this very day. It's a very open, visible caste system where they are labeled according to their phenotype. Okay. If you have certain hair texture, if you got a certain skin tone, if you have a certain eye color, if you grew up in a family that makes a certain amount of money, you're put up in a higher class. Okay. Just depending on your skin tone and your family name and all that sort of stuff. Okay. So we're getting like that over here in the United States. Over here, it's more of a invisible caste system where you're basically judged off of your phenotype. Okay. And so you can be biracial but not look biracial, and you're still going to be cast down with black people, because it's not about what you have in your bloodline. It's all about your phenotype over here. It's not about what you're mixed with. You can go and get your ancestry done and show people and prove to them that you're, mixed race or whatever. But if you don't have the phenotype, you're just as good as 100% pure African to these people in the United States. Because over here, the racism over here never really left the United States. It's just been covered up and kept in the closet. But it comes out when you go to work every day. You're not spoken to, you're shunned. You're kind of pushed off to the side. Nobody really talks to you. That's how you know how you're visibly viewed as, regardless of what you're mixed with. So when you see biracial people hanging out with white people, that means that they've been accepted into their little cliques. Okay, that means they phenotypically are accepted because their hair texture is probably, they probably have a lot looser curl with their hair texture. They're probably very light skinned. And so you could be light skinned too, but if you've got 4C hair, even if you're biracial, you're going to be put in with the black people. Okay, regardless of whether your mom could be white or your dad could be white, whatever. It's all about phenotype over here in the United States. Okay, and that's all it's always been like that. It's not about what's in your bloodline. It's all about how you look. Okay, so, and this is what I've been trying to tell a lot of mixed race people. And a lot of them know, a lot of them don't really need me to tell them this information. But there are some of them out there that are very confused. They kind of wonder why, they're not really included into, these little cliques with white people and Hispanic people, okay, or Latinos. And it's probably because your features are not phenotypically European enough. If you're not being spoken to and stuff like that. Okay, so I think over in Brazil, it's a little bit different. It's all about really what family you come from, regardless of how you look. It's about your family last name. It's about your monetary status, your educational background, and your phenotype. But that's more put down kind of at the bottom, phenotype, because they really go by your family line, okay? Not so much your phenotype. Over here in the United States, it's all about your phenotype, okay? Not your family line, not your education. You could have a master's degree, but if you're black or if you look black, you're down at the bottom, okay? You will be shunned. You will be pushed off over into a corner by yourself, not spoken to. You just get shunned over here. I've experienced this my whole life. It doesn't matter how pretty you are, what you look like, what color your eyes are. If you're not phenotypically close to a quadroon over here in the United States, you're just as good as black to these whites and Latinos over here. Okay, so I think when this is happening, when you have this invisible caste system where it's all about how you phenotypically look, there's people that will cast you out of everything based off of your phenotype. I've actually seen girls, not want to be seen speaking to me. They're very careful, and guys, about not talking to you for too long of a period, and while they're having a conversation with you, they'll look around to see who's watching, because they don't want to be caught with you. That's how bad it is over here. And this has been going on for as long as I can remember. This is not something that just started happening just a few years ago. This is something I remember since I was old enough to walk over here in the United States. And so my whole attitude about all this is, and I would like to add that you're phenotypically judged as long as you are a black female or a mulatto female. Okay, you're phenotypically judged. Black men, on the other hand, are not judged at all. They can be very, very dark skinned, and they're placed up way up on this ladder where they can click in with anyone, go and speak to everyone, sit with anyone. They're socially accepted. Okay, and one of the reasons why they're socially accepted is because there's a need for people of European background to breed with black men. Okay, there's a desperate need for them to breed with melanated people, because the planet is heating up, it's getting a lot hotter, and their need for melanin is getting to be really up there. They definitely are in need of melanin, because if they don't have melanated kids, they're not going to be able to sustain life on this planet. So they have to breed with black people, and then that offspring, they're hoping, will breed back into the white race, distributing that melanin all throughout the European bloodline so that these people can survive into this coming new world. Okay? And so that's why black men are socially accepted. I'm not really sure why black women, why they, for some reason, don't think that black women can also produce melanated children. But black women are a lot harder to brainwash, I guess, into being with white men. Maybe that's what it is. A lot of black women are just not into black men. And white women, it's almost 1 in 2 that are into black men. It's almost 50% of them that are into black men, or want to be, or want to have an experience with one of them. Okay, so black men and mulatto men are socially accepted over here in the United States. And over in Brazil and neighboring Caribbean islands, it's not so much like that. The black women are not shunned like they are over here in the United States. It's basically, like I just explained to you, it's all about your family line, your educational background, what type of reputation your family has, your social status, and then your phenotype is usually placed last. Okay, so if you're a black female over here, or a mulatto female, it's all about your phenotype. Okay, now there are some black women that are socially accepted into these little cliques with white people, and that's normally the loud black women that are very theatrical, that draw a lot of attention and act like comedians, They make white people feel like they're on some type of superior level. Those type black women can easily go and hang out with white people. But if you're a black woman, if you're educated, if you're quiet, you're more reserved, you're relaxed, you're kind of nice looking, even if you're not so much nice looking, if you don't have that phenotype, if you're looking like Beyonce, okay, somebody that looks like Beyonce is not going to be socially accepted by white people. Not at all. For one thing, she's much too pretty. White girls do not want to hang out with phenotypically light-skinned black women, because you might draw in too much attention from black men. They don't want to have to compete with you. And so they just do not hang out with, pretty griffs or pretty mulatto females. They hang out with mostly with, if they're going to hang out with mixed race women, they're usually quadroons. Okay, and I know that quadroons, to me, they were more attractive back in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. Today, they don't look, to me, they're not as attractive as they were back in the early 1900s era. That's just my opinion. To me, if you're 50-50, you're more pretty to me than a quadroon. That's how, I kind of feel. But that's just my opinion. Okay. And I don't want to, hurt anyone's feelings. That's not really my intent. But it's just the truth. Quadroons in this day and age, to me, they're not that attractive. Okay. I'm just spitting out the facts. Now, the ones that are very attractive, the ones that look like Jennifer Bills, okay, those types, yeah, they're phenotypically accepted by white people. But to tell you, to give you an honest opinion, I don't see girls that look like Jennifer Bills hanging out with white people. I really don't. They're more or less someone that looks like on her level. I think she's more Jennifer Bills. She's probably more Creole, or, she's got a lot of French blood in her or whatever. I'm guessing. Okay. To me, she would probably hang out more with Puerto Ricans. She might be accepted in with them. Maybe, they might accept her in with them, maybe, or it just depends on where she lives too. If she lives in Louisiana, she wouldn't need to hang out with anyone. She would have the Creoles right there. Okay. But, to me, I think mulattoes are a lot more attractive than quadroons are. But anyways, that's just what's happening here in the United States today. So getting back to, do I think interracial marriages should be banned in the United States? And here's my thoughts on this topic. I think that it should go ahead and be banned, at least for a while. And one of the reasons why I think that is because 50% of black women will never get married. Okay, 50% of them will never get married. Then you have 31% of black people in the United States are married. So that means that you have probably 39%, or let's see, let's see, 31, and then so that means there's another 40 something percent that, let's see, 3. So that means about 79% or close to that of black people, 79% or somewhere close to that, are not married. That's almost 75. Well, that's over 75%. That's over 3/4 of the black race here in the United States are not married. Okay, that's almost 80%. So that's a very, very low number of people that are married. 31%. That's a very low number. So that means that 79% are not married. And so my question is, out of that 79% of black people that are not married, how many of them are in interracial relationships? And I can guarantee you it's at least 50% of that 79%. Let's round it off to 80%, just to be fair. Okay? So that means about probably out of 80%, I would say about 60% of them are probably in interracial unions. Okay? Which means that 20% of them are probably with black men. That's a very low percentage. Not married, just in relationships. That's a very low percentage. Whereas white people, they have a much larger amount of married people in their community, because white people make up almost 75% of the United States. Okay, roughly speaking, they're almost at 75% of the United States. So there's a whole lot more white people than there is black people. Black men make up about 5.3% of the population here in the United States. Black women make up about 6% of the population. White women make up about 35% of the population. White men make up about probably around 40%, roughly speaking. Okay, I'm not going to get these numbers exact because I don't have my pen and paper out with me, but you know what I'm saying. So white people have a whole lot more people to choose from within their own community. Whereas in the black community, we don't even make up 10% of the population. Okay, well, we make up 13% when you add black women plus black men. We make up roughly around 13 to 15% of the population. And so what I meant to say is we don't even make up 20% of the population here in the United States. Not even 20%. So compare 20% to 75% of people. It's a very low number. Okay? And so white women have a whole lot more men in their community to choose from than black women do. A whole lot more. Okay, when you subtract the availability of black men to black women within the black community, when you subtract men that are incarcerated, men that have HIV, men that are homosexual, men that have passed away, that even makes the numbers of availability of black men to black women even lower than an even, 5.3%. it makes it roughly around 2 to 3% of men that are available to black women. And black women are at about 6% of the population. So white women have almost 5 to 7 times more men in their community than black women have in their community. But yet, the numbers of black men that are dating and marrying white women are astronomical when you add in the numbers of black men in the United States, and then you compare that to the numbers of black men that are available to black women. It's a very, very low number that black women have to choose from. White women don't give fucking 2 cents about this shit. They could care less if black women have any men left. She don't care. She don't give 2 fucking shits about the availability of black men here in the United States to black women. They don't give 2 fucking shits about that shit. Their whole attitude is, if you need to step up your game, because if you don't, it's your loss. You don't own them, so I'm going to take whatever I can get. That's their attitude. Okay? And, when you add in the numbers of available black men to black women, when you add that in with systemic racism, with segregation laws, with racism, with miscegenation, I'm not pronouncing that right, but you know what I'm trying to say. When you add all that stuff in, we almost have, the numbers of available men to black women are almost at 0. And then when you add in Latino women that are also seeking out black men, along with Asian women that are also seeking out black men, we have practically nothing. And if you think that these other races give a shit about who's in your community, if you think they give a shit that the numbers of men that are available in your community are at a down low, at a very, very down low, these other races are just like white women. They could care less about black women. They care about themselves. So if they can get that black man, they'll take that black man. They don't care if black women have anyone to date or marry. They don't care that black women are the ones that are distributing all these black men in the first place. They don't care that black men came from the wombs of black women. They don't give 2 shits about that. It's your loss. That's how these women, these non-black women think. It's your loss, not hers. She's going to use every avenue she can get to take the men out of your community, because she is not attracted to her own men. Her men are dull. They're boring. They can't dance. They have no rhythm. They have no, and this is white women that have told me this, okay? And I know it's true. It is. A lot of white men just don't have any kind of swag. That's like one of the number one things I hear white women say is that white men don't have no swag. Well, that's not our fault. Why don't you, find a way to create men that you're attracted to? Start, what do they call that? Choosing your men wisely so that you can have attractive sons, so that, your daughters of the future will be attracted to the men that you're bringing in. Try selective breeding, but They're not doing that. They're just, fuck selective breeding. We'll just go into the black community and take whatever is available. And so this is how this is working here in the United States. There's no laws. There's no that white women have to follow. They don't give a crap about the availability of black men for black women at all. And so if it was left up to these white women, they will take every last black man we got in the black community and leave us with nothing and won't give 2 fucking cents about it. If you let them, they will take every last black man you got. Okay? Because she don't want to be with her own men because she's not attracted to them. And she will sit here and argue with you until she's blue in the face. She will come into your community, befriend you, worship you and praise you, whatever she has to do to get close to the black community so that she can come in and take whoever she wants to take. This is how these women operate. I've seen it since I was old enough to start going to clubs. I've seen it my whole life, how these women operate. I've studied them. I've watched them. Okay? I've watched them very, very closely, and I know exactly how they operate. German women are some of the worst. German women, Spanish women, and Anglo-Saxon white women. Okay? Asian women, really, it's just a handful of them. Okay? And I don't really care about Asian women with black men. I've never really minded that because black people don't really have a bad history with Asian people yet. But I do know that when Asian women breed with black men, a lot of the times the children are able to keep their melanated skin. So Asian people, as far as their maintaining melanin on a melanin level, it's safe to breed with them because you're not going to be breeding yourselves out, okay, like you are with white people. You could be a dark-skinned black woman and have a very white-looking baby because I don't know what's going on with European genes. I don't know if these people that are breeding with a lot of these black people here on the planet, if they're even human or not. I'm serious. Because a lot of these biracial children that are coming in now look very, very, very white. Okay? Whereas back in the 70s, the kids looked more on a 50-50 skin tone. Now they're looking a lot of them look very, very white. Some of them can actually pass for white. And then you take a look at their mothers and they're dark skinned. It's just really strange shit going on. Okay, so I don't know if these people that are breeding with some of these black men, if they're 100% human. I don't know what's going on, but some of the offspring that's coming in now looks awfully white. Okay. Which means that they're able to somehow maintain their white skin even though they're breeding with black people. Okay, which means that somehow the genetic gene pool has been altered some kind of way. Because I know that back in the 70s and the 80s, biracials used to come out looking 50-50. A lot of them used to come out. I rarely would see quadroon looking biracials. Okay. And then you might say to yourself, well, that's happening because a lot of African Americans are already mixed. Well, yeah, 12 to 15%. Yeah, some of them are from the slavery days. Some of them do have or a lot of them do have anywhere from 10 to about 15% European bloodlines. Yeah. And we're talking about the darker skinned African Americans. Now, once we start getting into the lighter skinned ones, those are the ones that have in the 30% levels of European, like myself. So we're a little over Griff's. We're over 25% European. Okay, some of us are closer to 35, some might be closer to 45 or even 50. Okay. But I think that they're going to have to do something, because I think it's kind of unfair to black women that she's putting out all these black men, and it's not a whole lot, okay? But they're the ones that are giving birth to these black men that are on the planet now, okay? Without her, these black men wouldn't exist, okay, if they hadn't come through her womb, okay? Because white women can't create black children. They can create biracial children, but they cannot recreate black kids. They can create biracial kids, okay? So, and when I say black, I'm talking about Keith Sweat, Idris Elba, real black people that have, very melanated skin. Only black women can produce those, okay? Unless black men breed with Dravidian Indians, okay, then they can produce black babies, okay? Because Dravidians have just as much melanin, if not more, than a lot of African Americans. So if we're speaking on that level, then yes, there are some races out there that can actually have black children, okay? But when we're talking about the Anglo-Saxon Europeans, she can only give birth to a biracial child, okay? And a lot of the times in today's day and age, she's spitting out quadroons, not even biracials, okay? She's spitting out babies that are 75% white, and only 25% black. That's what she's putting out today. Those children are not black. Okay, so do we need to put a cap on this interracial race mixing and dating and marrying? And my answer is yes, because it's unfair to black women that they're creating black men but can't even marry the men that they're creating, because Miss Anne and Maria are coming over into the black community with whatever way they can get over and taking whatever black women push out, okay? There's no laws that will protect the black race, okay? So you leave it up to Miss Anne and Maria, they're going to have the black race bred out in no time, because they're not attracted to the men from their community. So that's why they're coming over to the black community, so that they can get men that they're actually attracted to, because they can't produce good-looking men, obviously, or they would be dating men within their own community. Okay, and all you have to do is take a look at the sons that she's producing, and then take a look at the sons that black women are producing, and that right there tells you all you need to know. And I'm not saying that to be racist or prejudiced or anything. It's the fucking truth, okay? If you have a whole shitload of white women that are running over to the black community every time you turn around to pick and choose whatever she can get, there's a reason she's coming over to your community and doing that, okay? And one of the number one reasons that she's coming over is because she's not attracted to her own men, or she can't get a man from her own community because she done did something. She done landed some type of reputation where they don't want her. Maybe she's slandered or I don't know, maybe she's a wannabe black white girl, like Bad Baby. We got a lot of those running around. A lot of white men are not into those types of women. So the first place they come, straight to the black community. Because a lot of black people, you guys invite everybody to the barbecue, but your own people. You will worship and praise everybody else but your own. You are one of the most pitiful races of people on this planet. You will accept anything as long as it's not black. Okay? And I'm not saying that, like I said, to be rude or bitter or anything. It's the truth. It is the truth. Okay? If the law doesn't step in, we're not going to have a black race by the year 1950. Within, let's say, within 25 more years, we're not going to have a black race. Or 24 years, we're not going to have a black race. If we keep going at the rate we're going, we're going to be completely bred out if these interracial union laws don't kick in. We're not going to have a black race because these black and Hispanic women are going to try and take every black man they can get their hands on. And they don't, like I said, they don't give two shits about whether or not black women have a man or not. They're just going to come into your community, treat you like shit, look down their nose at you, and then turn around and date your men, and then have these biracial kids with them, and then turn around and raise those kids to be racist against black people. That's what they've been doing since they've been on this planet. Okay? They raise a very racist offspring. And I'm not saying that it's all of them, because there's a lot of them out there that aren't racist. There's a lot of them out there that will kick it with black people. They're loving and caring, and but it's not a whole lot of them. A lot of them they're just as racist, if not worse, than white people are, because their mothers are raising them to be that way, just like she raises a lot of her sons to be anti-black. Okay? And I don't know why they do that, but I think there's some type of unseen, driven need to have these melanated kids. They don't really want black men. They just want that melanated child because on an unconscious level, they need that melanin in order to sustain life on this planet. And so unconsciously, she is drawn to black men on a level that she really doesn't understand. Because this goes far beyond what these white people know. It goes way back to ancient Egypt, and I'm not going to get into that right now, okay? But for some of you out there that have been listening to my videos for years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, but if we don't get some laws in to kind of slow this shit down, we're not going to have a black race pretty soon. And they don't care. These other races, they don't care. They don't give 2 cents whether there's a black race. They don't care if the black race gets spread out. They don't give a shit about nothing. Because if you've noticed, I don't see Hispanic men trying to put a stop to this, or Anglo-Saxon white men. I don't see them out protesting. I don't see them protesting against these interracial ads that are all over the place. Every time you turn around, there's TV commercials, ads, video games, advertising this shit, subliminally pushing this shit all up in your faces to racially mix. And it's all about white woman, black man. It's rarely ever white man, black woman. And again, I think that's because white women are a lot easier to convince because black men are a whole lot more attractive than white men. So maybe that's why they're pushing that more, because it's easier to bring those two together than it is to bring black women with white men together, because black women are not really attracted to white men on the same level that white women are attracted to black men. The numbers don't match at all. They don't even come near the same. It's black women are just not really into white men like that. And a lot of the ones that are out here that are getting with white men are really only doing that because they have to. Because if they don't do something, then they're going to be single and childless forever, so they have to get with whatever they can get with, because a lot of their men are not available, because all this race mixing is out of control. And when you got the media pushing this shit, well, is it any reason why it's out of control? So if something doesn't intervene, then we're looking at extinction for black people, at least here in the United States. They're going to be completely bred out. Okay, and that's pretty much all I have to say about this topic. Thanks so much for listening. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section. I will place this video up for you guys to see it. And once again, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit later in the next video. Thank you.